So here I have two Hall effect keyboards that have recently been released by NuPhy. And both of these keyboards have magnetic switches and are being marketed at those interested in gaming. The NuPhy Air60 is considered one of the world's first low-profile magnetic switch keyboards, and so far it's got some really good reviews. The NuPhy Halo65 is also a decent Hall effect keyboard, but it has a normal profile. Now, as I said before, both of these are designed with gaming in mind, and aside from their differences in profile, they have a lot of similarities. So in this video, I'm going to try and compare both of them and help you decide which one you should choose if you're on the lookout for a magnetic switch keyboard from NuPhy. So a good place to start is probably the similarities. The obvious point to make is they are both Hall effect keyboards. That is to say that they both have hot swappable Gateron magnetic switches. This enables you to adjust how far the key travels before the keyboard recognises that a key is being pressed. And this is also known as the actuation point. Now the benefit of this means that you can actually change the actuation point so you barely have to press it before the key recognises that it's being pressed. This can help if you're gaming as you have a much shorter response time. Somewhat interestingly, despite the Air60 HE having a low profile, if you choose the Jade Pro switches on both keyboards, you have the exact same maximum travel range. Now both of these keyboards can have switches which can be swapped out only for Gateron magnetic switches, and the profile of these switches obviously has to match the profile of the keyboard. That's to say you can't have low profile switches on a normal profile keyboard. So this does give you a limited number of switch options, with the main magnetic Gateron switches available currently being the Jade series. In terms of the keyboards themselves, they are both compact keyboards, with the Air60 HE having a 60% layout with 61 keys and the Halo65 HE having a 65% layout with 67 keys. If you're concerned about the colour of these keyboards, they both only have one colour option. The Air60 HE comes in a grey colour with purple shine through accent keys, and the Halo65 HE comes with grey keycaps with both white and orange accent keycaps, although they both have the option of swapping them out with the Canopus shine through keycaps. And as you can see here, I've done that with my Air60 HE, and I definitely prefer these keycaps, although they do cost around $20 extra. I just prefer the more minimal look. Despite their differing profiles, they both have a similar build structure with an aluminium uppercase and an ABS plastic lowercase. The underside of the Air60 HE is somewhat see-through, whereas the Halo65 HE is not. You can also adjust the height of both of these keyboards using their feet, and that's in case you don't like typing with the keyboard flat on the desk. With regards to the connectivity, they are both wired keyboards, so they'll connect to your device via USB Type-C cable, and they both come with a USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable in the box. However, the Air60 HE comes with an angled cable, whereas the Halo65 comes with just a normal cable. And the reason for this is the USB-C port on the Air60 is on the left side of the keyboard, whereas on the Halo65 it's on the back of it. On the back, they both also have a switch, which allows you to swap the keyboard settings from Windows to Mac, or to swap the keyboard settings between different games. The switch is fully customizable, so you can set it up to swap the settings between your preferred games. Both keyboards are also fully customizable, and all customization can be done through the NuPhy IO website. It's through NuPhy IO that you can actually change the actuation point on each keyboard and set up all the key features that these keyboards have to offer for gaming. For example, rapid trigger, hyper tap, and dynamic keystroke. If you want more information on these features, I've included them in my previous video about the NuPhy Air60 HE, which I'll link up here. The backlighting for both keyboards can also be adjusted through using NuPhy IO, and as both keyboards offer RGB south-facing backlighting, there are a lot of customization options. One slight difference between the two is the Air60 HE has two customizable accessory lights on each side of the keyboard, whereas the Halo60 HE has one on the left-hand side. However, the Halo65 HE does offer an RGB band all the way around the keyboard between the aluminium top case and the ABS plastic underside. This band is similar to the lighting that you used to get on the old NuPhy Halo keyboard series. Now that I've broadly talked about some of the similarities between the two keyboards, let's talk about the differences. So, starting with the obvious, the Air60 HE is a low profile keyboard and the Halo65 HE is a normal profile keyboard. That doesn't make one of these keyboards better, it's just that lots of people have strong opinions about what one they prefer. In terms of the dimensions, the Air60 HE is 297mm by 107mm with a minimum height of 13.2mm and a maximum height of 18.8mm. The Halo65 HE on the other hand is 318mm by 115mm with a minimum height of 18.5mm and a maximum height of 28.3mm. So there's nothing too surprising there. Obviously the Halo65 HE is slightly longer as it has more keys, and because of its normal profile, its lowest height is the same height as the highest point of the Air60 HE. The weight of the Air60 HE is around 0.5 kilograms, whereas the Halo65 HE is 0.78 kilograms, so it's slightly heavier. The keyboards also have slightly different typing angles, with the Air60 HE having an angle of 3.1 degrees without the feet, and 7 degrees and 10 degrees with the feet. The Halo65 has a typing angle of 5 degrees without the feet, and 8.5 degrees and 12 degrees with the feet. As someone who likes to have a higher typing angle, I like the Halo65 for this reason. In terms of the actual design of the keyboards, as I said before, they both have an aluminium uppercase with an ABS plastic underside. Uniquely, the Halo65 has this interesting corrugated design on the ABS plastic, which I really like, and I think it just makes the keyboard look a little bit more substantial. It's the same corrugated plastic design that you find in all the mechanical Halo65 keyboards. Another important thing to consider is the Air60 HE is missing the arrow keys, and this might mean that this keyboard isn't for everyone. The additional keys on the Halo65 HE give it a lot more versatility. In terms of the keycaps, the Air60 HE has grey, double-shot PBT keycaps with shine-through purple accessory keycaps on the side. The keycaps have a standard flat profile which you get typically with low-profile keyboards. As I said before, I've swapped out my Air60 HE's keycaps for the Canopus shine-through ABS plastic keycaps I personally prefer. However, these keycaps do show marks and do develop a bit of shine from your fingers once they've been used for a little while. The Halo65 HE again has double shot PBT keycaps in a grey colour with white and orange being used as the accessory colour. These keycaps have your standard cherry profile and they do feel nice to type on. I would have preferred it if NuPhy had given alternative colour options, but I guess you could always swap these out for different keycaps if you prefer. Again, shine-through ABS Canopus keycaps are available for the Halo65 HE, although I haven't got these for this keyboard. In terms of the switches, I'm going to group both of these keyboards together because although they are different in the sense that one has low profile switches and one has normal profile magnetic switches, their mechanism is fairly similar. The switches only consist of a magnet and a spring, and the HE sensor is on the keyboard itself. And as I said before, this means that they're only hot swappable for other Gateron magnetic switches. There are only a limited number of options available at this time, although I do expect there will be more available in the future. One of the key factors with these switches is the fact that you can adjust the actuation point by 0.01 millimeters, so they can be adjusted to the exact sensitivity you want. Each key can be individually adjusted as well, so you have the option to make some keys more sensitive than others, which can help reduce errors. As I said before, my previous video talks about all the other key features of these magnetic switches in a lot more detail. In terms of which switch options are available for each keyboard, well, the Air60 HE can be purchased with either Jade low profile switches or Jade Pro low profile switches, with the difference being that the Jade Pro switches require a larger initial force when pressing on them, which I'd argue gives you a greater level of feedback when typing. The Halo65 HE also has two switch options, and you can either purchase the Coral magnetic switches, which actually has a bigger range of actuation points than the Jade Pro switches, which are also available for the Halo65 HE. And it's thought that the Jade Pro switches sound slightly better than the Coral switches when typing. In terms of the polling rate of this keyboard, it can be set to up to 8000 Hz in an attempt to reduce input lag. However, there is an argument in terms of if this is even going to be noticeable compared to some of the lower 4000 Hz polling rate keyboards. Essentially, when you get past a certain polling rate, changes to the lag are minimal essentially, and NuPhy do give you the option to lower the polling rate to either 1000 Hz, 2000 Hz or 4000 Hz. Now, these keyboards do have different price points, with the NuPhy Air60 HE with the Jade switches priced at $119.95, and it's $139.95 with the Jade Pro switches. So it's not exactly the cheapest keyboard in the world, but if you compare it to something like the Wooting 60 HE Plus, this is currently being marketed at $189.99. And this is why I'd argue the best value for money HE keyboard you can get at the minute is actually the NuPhy Halo65 HE, as it's currently priced at $99.95 with the coral switches and $109.95 with the Jade Pro switches, which actually makes it cheaper than anything Wooting has to offer, but it's also cheaper than the Air60 HE. I personally prefer the NuPhy Halo65 HE. I think it's better value for money, it has a greater level of versatility, and I just like the design better. And I'm kind of surprised, as I normally prefer low profile keyboards. When it comes to Hall effect keyboards, I think they're better suited to normal profile keyboards. I also don't like the fact that Air60 HE is missing the arrow keys, which might not necessarily be an issue if you're using it for gaming, but it does become a problem if you want to use a keyboard for anything else. And saying that, NuPhy are about to release the Air75 HE, which will include arrow keys, and I think this is a keyboard layout that I would prefer. But again, this keyboard is pricier than the Hall effect Halo series. Given the rate at which NuPhy are producing Hall effect keyboards, I would not be surprised at them continuing to roll out both the Air series and the Halo series in various sizes. Now, if that is the case, the keyboard I'm most looking forward to is the Halo65 HE. Hopefully you found this video useful, and if you have, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.